Um, let's have a look at the idea of property. So, what's property? Um, this telephone, this um, a dressing gown, that would qualify as property. This hand isn't property. So why is there a difference between this object and this subject? So touching this face, subject. Why is there a difference between them in terms of what property is and is not? Okay, so property is objects that are exclusively owned by an individual or shared by a group of individuals. So a corporation, okay, is a type of property. Okay, that's broken up into shares, and different individuals or other corporations own shares in that corporation, okay, to say that they are the co-owners of the corporation. Okay, so what's the difference between a corporation and a person? Well, a corporation is a piece of paper with a list of who the owners of the shares are, and a design of what that corporation's purpose is, and as a business or a club or something like that, and has a specific function, and the ownership of shares in that corporation by people or other corporations is how revenue is raised or maintained to run that operation or that business's function. So why is that different from a person? Well, the answer is that a person is not just a piece of paper with those particular designations. People don't have to have missions. People aren't money. The purpose of people is not the exchange of money. Okay? Let's get this right so you understand it out there, if you're fascists out there that don't understand. Okay? Or your authoritarian superstructure type characters. The purpose of money is as a unit of exchange for the buying and selling of objects or goods and services. Okay? Goods and services are things like this telephone. Goods are like things like this jacket. They're objects, okay, that can be exchanged by money or for money. So if you want this dressing gown, okay, can say to you, $20, okay, and then if you give $20 and you can walk away with this dressing gown. Okay, it's a famous dressing gown. Look, they've got the stink of a famous person on it. Just kidding, okay? Look, it's added value to it. It's got scarcity principle. Okay, a famous person stinks. Okay, we'll put it on eBay and put it at auction. You pay $2,000 for it. Now, that's obviously not necessarily true. Okay, that would probably qualify as some kind of false advertising. Nonetheless, that's something that people might do. Okay, so do you put people on a stock exchange? If there's any kind of system that would put people on a stock exchange, okay, that would qualify as human trafficking. That would qualify as slavery. Okay, that would qualify as against the law. Okay, based on values, not ethics, but belief structures that are from that sort of authoritarian evil that comes from the past. Back in the USA, back in the 1800s, okay, this is a more famous story, not to say that they were the only country that ever had slavery, okay, but that country, for a long time, nearly 400 years, had a system where they was abducting people from other countries on ships and, without their permission, because of abduction, putting them in chains and whooping them, and then putting them on a platform, on a stage, and auctioning them off so they could work at plantations. And those people didn't get any wages. They did not get any permission. They didn't get to decide which plantation they worked at. They weren't allowed to leave. If they went to a different plantation, it's because their massa sold them to the other plantation's owner. They were treated like literal livestock. They were treated like horses and oxen. Okay? And if you think that's cruel, it is cruel. It was so cruel, they had people escaping that and going to places that had abolished that over the course of time and building up a great movement to stop that in general. And eventually that culminated in the war of the 1860s called the American Civil War between the North and the South. And it wound up getting Abraham Lincoln shot. They abolished that because they thought it was cruel to treat people like a property. Okay, when they treat people like a property, it's a cruelty. So people aren't corporations. People aren't, as some conspiracy theorists have put it, energy money. Okay, they're not that. People are people. Okay, so this idea that people are exchangeable, or that they're property, or that different individuals are shares as part of a corporation or shareholders, or that someone's head is a corporation, is a fascist scam. It's a fascist scam. It's a faulty analogy. It's objectification. It's associated with ideologies that are racist and sexist. It goes back to the satanic idea of treating people like lush and energy money and ignoring each being's individuality. That's a crime against people. Now, sometimes our groups will turn around and say, oh, that's Catholic, because of the book saying that the people are the livestock, that they've taken it from that. And you can see how they've done that. Okay? But that is a different cult yet again. When the Europeans started to have a big bitch fight about how the aristocracy and the Vatican had screwed them over and treated them more like livestock, okay, they ought not have made the corporation more powerful than the people instead. But that's what they've done. Over the course of time, we've seen the idea of corporate personhood appear in legislature literatures and statutes, but we haven't seen enough of an advancement of persons as personhood. We've seen the erosion of slavery where possible, but the replacement with corporate servitude. Okay? The idea of gradually replacing the aristocracy with the merchant class and the tech bro feudalism that they're talking about these days is not liberation of people from their European and Asiatic, in case of Chinese Empire or whatever, or Indian caste system, from their aristocrat masters or from patricianarchy or whatever. Okay, it is the objectification of the subject, another way. When the Bible told people that they was cows and sheep, or more specifically sheep, that was treating them like a livestock. When the merchant class invented the corporations and came along and tried to save families and their estates was a corporation type through foundation and trust invention in Genoa in Italy. Geneva was completely different. So Genoa in Italy in the 1400s, that was of the beginning of the stock exchange and the beginning of the corporatization of the merchant class and eventually that false analogy to society at large. The replacement of people as livestock as people with corporations. That's completely unfair. That is just a different type of objectification. When in the 1400s, the English aristocracy said they want to be called VOUS, and all you plebs can be called YOU. That was taken an object pronoun, YOU, such as you chair, and making it a subject pronoun, as in you person. That was objectification of the subject based on class. And it coincided with the House of Lords. It coincided with Genoa in Italy invention of stock exchange and corporation. It coincided with shifting from one type of objectification of people by calling them livestock to objectification of people by treating them as though they were literal objects. We are in a situation internationally where there is this linguistic habit and this cultural habit that come from Anglophone and Europe and have layers from predecessor cultures where there is object-subject confusion, where they've been objectifying people and subjectifying objects. You can see that with the people who have forgotten that there was no simulation, that people got confused because of a Keanu Reeves movie. Keanu Reeves did not want to do that to people. He's a nice man, he's Buddhist, he don't want to hurt you. Okay, but they got confused by a movie he was in. Okay, they smoked marijuana when they was in the 90s and they watched that movie. Then they finished their university degree, and they become tech bro, and they go work for US military and other groups, and they try to make AIs to try and create simulation, while everyone's awash with satellite dish, mobile phone tower, walking around with artificial radio wave passing between them and through their head. Okay, get confused, think world simulation. It's not simulation. They try to create one. There's objectification of the object. Sophia the robot gets citizenship in Iran, or was it Saudi Arabia, whichever country it was. But the women in that country don't have the same right as men. Why'd they give a robot more right than they do a real woman? Objects having more right than real women. Or men. It's objectification of objects and objectification of subjects. It's time we didn't do that. It's time we saw corporations what they are. Objects. Pieces of paper. Pieces of paper which are guides, business plan, made by people for people to enact, but those people are subject, not object. Please see through the malarkey. Please see through the malarkey of the different cults and what they've done to people. Please resist at all times. We don't have to put up with California's bullshit anymore. Whether it's Palo Alto or whatever Jim Carrey's half-baked attempt at describing coming out all weird, is about, or some dickheads in other countries who misinterpreted their shit, did bad shit to other people as a result. We don't have to put up with it. We don't have to put up with your New Age bullshit. We don't have to put up with your Catholic and Christian nationalist bullshit. We don't have to put up with your Kybalion. We don't have to put up with your AI. We don't have to put up with it. There isn't any person, whether they your friend or your enemy, who does. And anyone that's used that on you shall be ashamed. They use it on someone else to use it on you, they should also be ashamed. We don't have to put up with it. That's American and Pommy and European shit. And that objectification of the subject is Chinese shit too. And it's Indian shit. But it's very much English shit. It's very much European aristocracy shit. Okay? You don't resolve the inequality and the bullying the Bible created through the inequality and the bullying that the merchant class created. That is not a revolution, Robespierre. That's not reason. Your cult has failed. You are, in fact, a bully. Off with your head.